One of the Slender Man girls is committed for treatment. The Clinton campaign accused of stirring up trouble at Trump rallies, and Hamas begs Egypt to stop flooding its tunnels. This is SkyWatch TV for Tuesday, March 15th, 2016. I'm Derek Gilbert. First up, Russia surprises the world by announcing Monday that it's withdrawing troops from Syria effective now. President Vladimir Putin instructing his foreign policy team to step up peace efforts. The United States and its allies caught by surprise. There was no advance warning of this announcement, and the anti-Assad forces in Syria, frankly, baffled. Well, spokesman for Syria's President Bashar al-Assad denied suggestions that Russia's sudden announcement was a sign of a disagreement between the two countries, which means it's a pretty safe bet that the announcement is due to signs of disagreement between the two countries. One intelligence news site says that Putin's decision was prompted by a disagreement with Iran over how long to continue the fighting. Putin wants to wind it down, keep Russia from getting stuck in a quagmire. The Iranians apparently want to keep fighting as long as there are still Sunni rebels active in the country. So this move is to be interpreted, they say, as Vladimir Putin saying, if you want to keep fighting, fine, but count Russia out. And because he noticed that we haven't talked about him in a week or so, North Korea's Kim Jong-un announced Monday that his country has developed miniature nuclear warheads that it can mount on ballistic missiles, and he called for his military to be prepared to launch preemptive strikes against the South and against the United States. It's probably a response to joint military drills between the U.S. and South Korea this week. Analysts say that while North Korea has made progress on missile technology, they haven't made that much progress. Now, not to be outdone, the United States announced new drone technology at a press conference Monday. A new micro drone weighs about a pound. These would be launched in swarms from the flare dispensers of F-16s or F-18s. Now, the specifics of what these drones do is classified, might be designed to confuse enemy radar. Back in January, maybe you remember, we talked about a new Navy system, a drone swarm, or a dwarm swarm, of drones called the Locust Swarm. A bunch of small, cheap drones networked together, working through an artificial intelligence to overwhelm an enemy target, the air defenses of an enemy target. They ran tests against the Navy's Aegis anti-aircraft system, which is considered about the best in the world. But they discovered that, on average, 3 out of every 8 micro drones got through the radar, sensors, anti-aircraft missiles, and machine guns. They have such a small profile, and there were so many targets that gunners had 10 to 15 seconds to react before impact. It just shows that in today's world, bigger, more expensive, higher tech weapon systems don't often win the day, don't always win the day. They do, of course, make more money for the contractors than these off-the-shelf drones. Back to the Islamic State for a moment and what's going on in Syria. Things may not be going as well in the caliphate as they would like. The so-called Secretary of Defense for the Islamic State, reportedly killed in an American airstrike in January, or finally dying of his wounds after being hit in an airstrike. And a spokesman for the U.S. State Department said that ISIS is depending more and more on child soldiers because the grown-ups are running away. They're defecting. Now, you know me, I tend to take the word of government spokesman not very often at face value. I'd like to see some more proof that this is the case. We've been hearing for 2 years that the so-called JV team has been contained when in fact they've been spreading to Libya, the Ivory Coast, Nigeria, the Sinai Peninsula, and so forth. We'll keep an eye on this. Meanwhile, another warning about this potential disaster looming in Iraq, partly caused by ISIS. This is the Mosul Dam that I've told you about a couple of times already. Didn't realize exactly how shaky this thing is. The dam was built in 1984 and put where it is, north of the city of Mosul on the river Tigris, apparently because a buddy of Saddam Hussein's owned the land. Thus, this dam was constructed across the Tigris River on a bed of gypsum, which is water soluble. So beginning in 1986, they found it needed constant grouting, which is injections day and night of microfine cement. Now, that's kept the problem from getting worse, but it hasn't fixed the problem. And then 2 years ago, in the summer, ISIS captured the dam, held it for about a week and a half. And when they did, the regular program of maintenance was disrupted, and many of the skilled technicians ran away. They haven't come back. and the spring rainy season is just about here in Iraq. Worst case scenario, oh yeah, and making things worse, the emergency floodgates are stuck. They're broken. They can't be opened to relieve pressure on the dam. So, worst case scenario, 1.5 million people drown. Best case scenario, 500,000 drown, 1 million people homeless. Models show that when the dam fails, a wall of water 45 to 70 feet high will hit the city of Mosul, population 1 million, within 4 hours. Now, ISIS still controls the city, and maybe that's a blessing in disguise. It hasn't been fun for the people who live there, but because of the ISIS occupation, there are only 1 million people in Mosul instead of the 2.5 million who lived there before the summer of 2014. And speaking of flooding, Hamas has gone to Egypt to beg the Egyptian government to stop flooding its tunnels. You remember in 2014, Hamas used tunnels from the Gaza Strip into Israel to launch surprise attacks, sneaking soldiers through for raids and to abduct hostages. Well, Hamas has sent a delegation to Cairo trying to convince Egyptian security and intelligence officials that they are not responsible for the terror attacks in the Sinai Peninsula. Egyptian government apparently told Hamas, "We'll consider your request if you can prove to us you have no connection whatsoever to the Muslim Brotherhood." And of course, Hamas is the Palestinian branch of the Muslim Brotherhood. U.S. government has launched what it's calling the Apollo Project of the Brain. IARPA, which is the Intelligence Advanced Research Projects Agency, modeled after the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA, is putting up $100 million to reverse engineer 1 square millimeter of the brain, or 1 cubic millimeter actually, to study the way it makes computations and then take those findings to figure out how to create better algorithms for machine learning, neural networks, and artificial intelligence. The program name, we really need to set up an award, the government project acronym of the week, because this is a candidate for the award. Machine Intelligence from Cortical Networks, or Microns. The program, inspired by the fact that while computers are really powerful and all, neural networks, which are the guts of artificial intelligence, are still really bad at identifying patterns in cluttered environments, like trying to pick out your child's voice in a noisy room, or Waldo in one of those books. And just as we have to ask the question with anything that DARPA does, how can this be weaponized? With IARPA, we have to ask the question, with any project it's involved with, how can this be used to spy on us? One of those 2 teenage girls in Wisconsin accused of trying to kill their classmate to please the fictional character Slender Man is being treated at a mental hospital. 13-year-old Morgan Geyser sent to the facility in January. She was diagnosed with early onset schizophrenia during a court-appointed or ordered competency hearing back in 2014. Geyser and her friend Anissa Weir are charged with attempted first-degree intentional homicide. Police say in May of 2014, they lured a classmate, Peyton Leutner, to a park in Waukesha, Wisconsin, that's about 20 miles west of Milwaukee, and stabbed her 19 times, trying to sacrifice her to the fictional online character Slender Man, the creepypasta character. She was left for dead, but managed to crawl out of the woods where she was spotted by a bicyclist. After a number of surgeries, she has recovered physically. She's back at school attending 8th grade. An HBO documentary about the case debuted at the South by Southwest Tech Festival this past Friday night. It's called Beware the Slender Man. The character was reportedly created for a Photoshop contest at one of these online crowdsourced horror websites back in 2009. It's kind of taken on a life of its own in more ways than one. It's inspired 2 feature films and at least 3 homicide attempts that we're aware of. It's primary day here in Missouri, the Ides of March. I voted. Did you? Not just Missouri, but Illinois, Ohio, Florida, North Carolina going to the polls today in the American presidential primaries. We often don't talk about politics here, or not as often as we could, just because I think Tom Horn is correct. We don't want to step down from a higher calling, but this is interesting and at least tangentially related to the globalists' efforts to rebuild Babylon, push us toward a one-world government. The big news over the last couple of weeks has been the violent incidents at Donald Trump rallies. And it's been assumed by many people that the troublemakers are supporters of Bernie Sanders, the Democratic candidate, socialist. Now, a source who's often reliable on political news a consultant and analyst named Roger Stone, who's conservative, says that people on the inside of the campaigns tell him it's actually coming from Hillary Clinton's campaign. You see, they're spending money to pay agents provocateur to go stir up trouble at the Trump rallies, hoping that voters, Democrats, will blame the Sanders supporters and make Bernie Sanders look bad, and that Trump supporters will overreact, making them and Donald Trump look bad. Now, prominent so-called conservatives, the National Review magazine for one, the neocons that have been serving in Washington, D.C. for the last couple decades, been very public in their opposition to Donald Trump. A group of 100 of them signed a public letter saying if Trump gets the nomination, they will work to support Hillary Clinton. And I told you about that secret meeting at the island off the coast of Georgia last week where elites and some media types got together to find ways to derail the Trump campaign. Is it just coincidence that all of this about the violence at Trump rallies came out right after that meeting? Last week, an example, Trump's campaign manager was accused of physically assaulting, manhandling, a female reporter for Breitbart News. Now, Breitbart is supposed to be a conservative news site. This allegedly occurred at a rally in Florida last Tuesday. A Washington Post reporter claimed that he saw the whole thing, wrote up the story, went national with it. A transcript of an audio recording immediately after the incident, no video came out, but a transcript of an audio recording came out that claimed to document her story. Well, the liberal media went wild. They were all over the story. Calls from left and right all across the country for Trump's campaign manager to be fired. Even Fox News picked up on this story, gave this female reporter from Breitbart a room to speak her piece. But here's the thing. Cell phone video of the incident has emerged in the last couple days and proves that it didn't happen. So it makes you wonder, why are the Republican elites so desperate to stop Donald Trump? And by the way, does it surprise you that this female reporter has a new book that's coming out in the next couple of months? Always ask the question, who benefits? Well, on SkyWatch TV, we have benefited from your generosity and your support, and that has helped us to expand the offerings now on the SkyWatch TV Roku channel. We've added a couple of new programs into the multiverse with Josh Peck, Josh and his intelligent and lovely wife, Christina, talking about some really brainy stuff. This week's topic, really fascinating, the fourth dimensions. There are more than one. You'll find that now on the SkyWatch TV channel on Roku. And SkyWatch Women, which will debut with a new studio later this year, opening with a series of one-on-one interviews so you can get to know some of the women involved with the program on a more personal level. This week, Nita Horn, and you'll find out the connection between SkyWatch TV and miniature horses, miniature therapy horses, Whispering Ponies Ranch. That's also at the SkyWatch TV channel on Roku. And of course, we've given Sci Friday its own page finally. You'll find that there at the SkyWatch TV channel. If you haven't added that to your Roku account yet, please do. Instructions posted online, skywatchtv.com/Roku. The program on SkyWatch TV this week, of course, that's also available at the channel on Roku, is an interview with Tom Horn about his book Zenith 2016, discussing, well, 2016. Why have so many throughout so much history pointed to this year as being, well, earth-changing? That program airs on 4 different locations later today. You'll see those on your screen right here. Rather than reading through them all, Tom Horn with Sharon and myself talking about his book, Zenith 2016. Tomorrow on the Cornerstone Network, coast to coast, 2:30 p.m. Central Time. And then again on Saturday on the Victory Television Network and the Christian Television Network. And you'll find all of those channel listings and locations, times and locations, at skywatchtv.com. Just check the top menu bar there for the link. The Rocky Mountain International Prophecy Conference, while it is sold out, well, you can, if you can't get to it, you can bring it to you via video. Streaming video of the presentations in the main ballroom and the Aspen Room, which is the largest breakout room. And because some of those presentations will be going on at the same time, the videos will be archived for 6 weeks after the conference in July. You can buy a package for one room or the other or both and save money. And for more information, log on to prophecywatchers.com. And because of your support, every month we offer a gift to you in exchange for your financial gift. This month, for your gift of $20 or more, the DVD, America's Courts, Progress, and Peril, and this keepsake wall plaque. For instructions and to donate, log on to skywatchtv.com/donate. And of course, you can help us with just a click of your mouse finger. Click like, click share, click subscribe at these places online. And of course, this is where you'll find my stuff. My email address, always open for your comments, questions, and suggestions, dgilbert@skywatchtv.com. Thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is Skywatch TV.
From the time she was little, Nita dreamed of horses. Every childhood fantasy rode on the back of a heroic white steed, coming to save the day.
I don't know how long I've had this love in my heart for horses. It's just always been there. And when we were little girls, my sister and I would play all day long. I was always the white horse and she was always the little pink pig.
Let's pretend Lightning and Rosie can fly.
But everything changed in a heartbeat. On December 9th, 1971, a tragic car accident claimed the life of my dad and my best friend and my little sister. And I wondered after that if there was anything left to believe in.
Move aside, let the ambulance through. Please move aside.
As a child of 13, I felt like I had lost practically everything. And I wondered, is this it? I mean, where do I go from here? I could not have imagined back then how God could use horses, of all things, to restore my faith and vision for the future.
Starting April 19th, get your copy of Nita Horn's inspirational new book, No Fences, and learn for the first time her amazing story of loss, survival, determination, and healing. How the vision and love God gave her for these beautiful and majestic animals eventually led to the 150-acre Whispering Ponies Ranch, a general retreat facility, as well as a premier training location that specializes in using and gifting therapeutic animals to benefit the herding. Other care facilities, schools, and ministries across the nation.
When God puts something in your heart, it's there for a lifetime.